Who's faster than the speeding train? Who's faster than a big airplane flying to the sky? Who's faster than a bumblebee? Not Mighty Mouse, and it's not even Spider-Man or Batman. It's the Man of Steel, Superman himself from another planet, the Kryptonite, what's it call it? Planet from far away in a galaxy far away, long ago. No, that's Star Wars. But here is my movie review, film review on the newest Superman film, The Man of Steel. So if you have not seen it, here are spoil alerts in my movie reviews, as always, of course. Because you know that Superman is full of secrets, but then again, he isn't really full of secrets because we all know who he is. He started as a story that's a lot different than the story we know now. Back about 80, 90 years ago, about like in the 1920s, when the story was first written, it was like a comic or just a screenplay by a guy, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna make a story about a man who is like bald, and he has the ability to read people's minds with his mind, and to do stuff with his mind. And he's bald, and he was probably a little bad, but they changed the story over time. Obviously, story things like, for example, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles originally was a little more darker in the comics in 1982, 83 or so. When it first came out, the Turtles were more darker, but then they were in the cartoons, and they were in the live action movies, and they were a little more funner, which I like the funner kind of Turtles, but some people like the meaner kind more, and maybe I'm for both. I want to see mean, funny Turtles, and I like the newer version of Superman, the newer versions of Superman, and not the bald version that was originally written that you may have not heard of. And you're thinking to yourself, what are you talking about? Superman is not bald. I know he's not bald, but originally, in the original story, he was different. But they changed the story, so never mind that, because things change, including the newest Superman movie. That changed as well. That's a little different than the other movies in the past. So the reboot of the Superman saga is a little different than before, and in some ways better than before, where no man has gone before. It's Superman, here to save the day, faster than the speeding bullet, faster than the cheetah, faster than the cartoon Roadrunner running off a cliff. Was it the Roadrunner or the Coyote? I think it's the Coyote who goes after the Roadrunner, but the Coyote falls into the hole, or he always gets into a mess. He gets into a bust of trouble, starting making trouble in his neighborhood. That's what the Coyote does. And there was these guys in the Superman planet. They were making trouble too, because they wanted to keep things going. Kinda, I don't know how bad they were. They weren't really bad. They wanted the planet to stay together, but the father of Superman, played by, who's his name? Russelle Crowe. He is a badass. He is strong, and he knows that the planet is falling apart. Superman's planet is falling apart. And he's like, we have a sun, and we can just put the sun in the spaceship and send him off to another planet. A planet that we've heard of before, because we have an outpost there. Kind of like the Transformers. Didn't the Transformers have an outpost on Earth? Or maybe they didn't. The Transformers, they just crash landed on the North Pole or somewhere really close, a bunch of ice, and they were there for like thousands of years. Kind of like Rita Repulsa, the bad witch in the Power Rangers Seacrest lands he's stuck in a dumpster. Kind of like Ivan Ooze, another criminal in Power Rangers first film. He's stuck in like a dumpster in Earth. Rita is stuck in a dumpster on the moon until some astronauts come in 1992, 1993 or so, when this show started about 20 years ago, and they discover Rita Repulsa, who comes to save the day. No, to make things worse and to mess things up, making trouble in the neighborhood, just like Will Smith in the Prince of Bel-Air, Prince of Persia, Prince of Bel-Air, the TV show, Prince of Bel-Air. That's right, making trouble in his neighborhood. Everybody's making trouble in their neighborhood. And it's really sad. You got Rita of the Power Rangers, and she's stuck for thousands of years until they discover her, and then she can mess things up for everybody and make criminals, make bad guys, make smooth criminals out of soup. Soup? What is soup? Soup. Soup is better. Soup makes the world go round. ABC is easy as 1, 2, 3. You know that it's better like that. I'm telling you, you got bad guys, and they're sitting around until people discover them, and then they come and they go back to being horrible people. So you might as well just lock them up and give them the death penalty. Are you for or against death penalties? Let me know. But in the comments, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, brother. I say brother. Yeah, brother, because I'm like Hulk Hogan, but I'm not really Hulk Hogan. I'm not that strong. I'm not even as strong as Russelle Crowe, the father of Superman. And Russelle Crowe's like, man, we're gonna hide this baby like they hid Moses, who let those people go. The people of Israel, God's people. Just like Moses, hide the baby and let the baby come back to save the day. Superman is like an illustration of Jesus, a savior, person who comes in and saves the day like any other superhero. I want to be a superhero, don't want to be zero. You know, nobody wants to be zero. They want to be number one. That's what we say in Vietnam even. They say number one. It's kind of like a rank of being number one. And everybody in the world wants to be number one. And they look at Superman and they idolize him because he is number one. He's better than anybody else. And oh man, you want to be Superman? Fly like him, kind of like Peter Pan, except more manly because you're more grown up and you're not like, oh, I want to be like a little kid like Michael Jackson, Peter Pan. No, Superman plays with G.I. Joes. He's much tougher. He probably plays with the Iron Man too. And the rest of the Final Fantasy 4, the Fantastic Four, the Justice League, directed by Joss Whedon, who also makes Dollhouse and Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel and Firefly. That's right. You know what I'm saying? Life is tough because you got really horrible criminals who are trying to make trouble in the neighborhood. But Superman escapes. But while he's escaping, that one bad person named Zod on the Superman planet, he stabs Russelle Crowe. He stabs Superman's father right in the gut. Superman's father is Russelle Crowe, and he gets stabbed, he gets killed. It's okay, because his memory is saved in different hard drives, different like Zeo crystals. The Zeo crystals are from the Power Rangers. No, not Zeo crystal. It's more like something else, something better than Zeo crystal. What's better? Just regular crystals. But except unless if it's kryptonite. Kryptonite will hurt Superman, bring him to his knees like never before. They got strength and the power like you never seen before. They know then nothing will ever bring them down. Their power lies on their side, yaddy, yaddy, yaddy. Go, go, Power Ranger. Go, go, Superman. Dun, 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 dun. Is that a, no, that's the Police Academy. Here you have Superman. He escapes the trouble of a dying planet. The planet blows up. The criminals, why are they criminals? I can't remember exactly why. But they are. And they get stuck in a criminal fortress jail, like a floating spaceship jail that gets sucked into another dimension. And that's what the people on the planet decide to do right before their planet blows up. They decide we're gonna serve justice to these bad people like Zod and his friends. Zod and his friends. Hey Zod, you're going down. Zod and your friends, you're gonna die. Yeah, you're gonna know what the Rock is cooking tonight. You smell what the Rock is cooking tonight. You're gonna get smacked down to the bottom and get stuck in a spaceship, a criminal spaceship, just for you guys. And you won't be able to escape unless if maybe the planet blows up. Then you'll be able to escape. You know, you'll be able to escape. Unless if the guitar's off tune, and then you won't be able to escape because your ears will go la 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 and get out of my face. And oh man, it's kind of really, really loud, really, really sad. But fortunately, Superman makes it to the Earth and he finds new Earth parents, because that's what happens when you're a baby, you're in a spaceship, and the parents find you because you land in Kansas. Kansas, man. I think it's Kansas with the Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Oz. That's odd. The Wizard of Oz is odd. The Wizard of Oz is odd. The Wizard of Oz is odd. It reminds me of Dr. Oz, who was discovered by Oprah Winfrey. Oh my goodness. Not to be confused with Dr. Phil and Jerry Springer and Montel. Who's the daddy? Who's your daddy? Will Smith? No. Darth Vader? No. Superman had a parent. Superman had a mother and a father, but then the planet blows up, so Russelle Crowe gets stabbed, and then the planet blows up. But his memory is stored in other places, so you see him later. And Superman makes it back to Earth, and he gets a nice little family in Kansas. Some famous actors that you've seen before. The father is played by, I can't remember, but he is a famous actor, and no, he is. And he tells Superman, you gotta hide yourself. You can't let everybody know who you are. Because, just like the Power Rangers, you can't share your secret identity. Because then everybody will know who you are, and they'll want to know your number. Like Michael Jackson had no privacy. Famous people, they're not superheroes. Famous people are not superheroes, and they still don't get any privacy, no time for themselves. They get a little bit, but they have to run and hide and stick their babies out the window like, whoa, I'm Michael Jackson, look at me. But I really do respect him. But what am I trying to say, Blanket? I'm trying to say Blanket's from, like, Snoopy. You know, Charlie Brown. Good grief. Oh my goodness, you have to hide yourself and try to hide yourself as much as possible and all the time, and it drives you crazy. You can't even go to McDonald's to order a burger. You want to order a burger at McDonald's, but you can't, so you have to hire a servant. Have some black slaves. No, not black slaves. That's racist. You know, you gotta have somebody good and have them do it for you, and then you're like, oh man, this is horrible. So the earthly father of Superman is like, man, Superman, don't, you should have let those people drown in the bus maybe. And he's like, what? And you see these flashbacks of Superman. He's older, he's like 20 years old, or he might be 30 years old. And he's already, he's already past high school. and he's looking back at his life and thinking about the times when he almost refilled himself, or he actually did refill himself a couple times when he had to save a bus and save people, and one time he was on a boat, and he had to open up part of it because it was on fire and let people escape, and people saw that and they're like, oh man, what a strong person, how did he do that, and why didn't he die for the fire? Oh man, fire doesn't hurt him. He's kind of like that lady, the dragon queen from the Game of Thrones. Spoiler alert on the Game of Thrones, but then again, you probably already know it if you've seen it, but then again, if you haven't, who knows? Tough luck for you. Bad luck for you. Too bad for you. See if I care. But Superman, he saves people's lives. But then at the end, he's running, and he's like 20 years old, and there's a tornado, and his earthly father goes back to get the dog. And Clark Kent, Superman's secret identity, or his persona as Clark Kent, he wants to save the day, but he can't let people know that he's Superman, and his earthly father says, hey, it's okay, don't save the day, let me die in the tornado. Which I was really sad when I saw, and I was like, man, I don't really like it when I see people die in a tornado, but there he went. The father went bye-bye. The famous little actor, who's not so little after all, he dies. But that's okay. It makes Superman into who he is. And another spoiler alert, for the next film, they say Batman is going to be in the next film for The Man of Steel. The second edition, the second episode, the second movie of Superman. They will add Batman, but not the Batman of The Dark Knight. Supposedly, that Batman will not return because the actor has decided not to return. I'm just telling you what I've heard from the internet from other places. So you may not be too excited, but that's what these reviews are all about. They already have reviews of all these movies. You don't even have to watch my video. So you may never watch my video. So why do I make these videos? I'm not exactly sure, but that's what competition is all about. This is competition, trying to make the best video in the world so that more people will like you and so you be more famous. Man, it sounds pretty egoistic. Like, I got a strong ego. That's what I'm trying to say. Like an eagle, like a bird, but better than that. Like a bird. No. Like a bat. No, better than a bat. Better than a bird. Superman. That's right. I'm gonna be like Superman. Like I said before, we all want to be Superman because he saves the day, and he has to fight Zod in this movie. You know, first he's on a planet. The planet blows up. He escapes because his parents send him off in a spaceship, and he gets earthly parents. But then his father dies, and then later on, it's just him and his widowed mother, which reminds me of Spider-Man. Spider-Man has, Spider-Man, Tony Parker, not to be confused with the basketball player on the San Antonio Spurs, Tony Parker. It's another Tony Parker who doesn't play basketball. He's a Superman. No, he's a Spider-Man man. He's a Spider-Man man. He's a Spider-Man man. Spider-Man, Spider-Man, radioactive Spider-Man, 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 radioactive Spider-Man. Better than your mom. I did not say that. I don't have any problems with your mom. But I just feel like I'm just really sad that Superman is by himself, with just his earthly mom, but his father dies. But it's okay. And then like near the end of the movie is basically the fight. That's it, the fight between Superman and Zod and his crew. And there's the fight is like they go through buildings, they just like hit each other, and they fly through buildings, and it's crazy, and it's epic, and it's kind of like other superhero movies where they have crazy fights like Spider-Man and maybe some of the Batman films, and maybe the X-Men too, which I haven't actually seen all of the X-Men films, only bits and pieces, so I have to go back and look at that and then give you some reviews, or what kind of reviews do you want to see in the future. But I'm telling you, you can tell me. You can tell me anything. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? I'm serious. Let me know what you want me to do. Otherwise, I won't know. And I won't care. I will care, but you won't know that I care, because you won't know. But you should think about giving me feedback. And don't even say, oh man, you're too wanting, me, oh. But you know you want to. Just like Superman wants to save the day in every movie that he's in. Especially Christopher Reeves, who was one of the best Supermans ever in the Superman movies until he got a broken spine when he was on a horse in real life and fell off, and then he had to be in the hospital because his back was broken or something like that, and he ended up dying in like the year 2002 or so, the real Superman. And he is probably my favorite Superman still. But the other Supermans, they're interesting. In the newest movie, you should see, because it's creative and it's not like the other Superman movies. Not really, not at all. Because it has a different dynamic with the way it starts with Superman on the planet and the planet blowing up and the Superman escaping, and then he has, the parents on Earth, but then he discovers his real power because there's a spaceship in the barn. I think it's in the barn. It's in one of those buildings at their farm in Kansas, and things are okay, but it's like he discovers who he really is, and then he gets to talk to his father. His father's still around. His father's spirit, his father's consciousness, his father's mind. Superman's mind, Superman's father's mind is still around. That means Russelle Crowe is still around. He's not dead. Because Russelle Crowe is a famous actor who has played really famous people in the past. Like a pirate, or a pilot on a boat, and gladiator, like a Spartacus or a Spartus. This is Sparta! Knock a black person off the cliff, kind of thing. Russelle Crowe has been tough people in the past. He's played really tough people in previous movies, and in this movie is no exception. He plays the father of Superman. So you have to be a tough man. You have to be strong because you're the father of Superman. Superman, he has his real parents, and then he has his parents on Earth. And he finds out who he really is, and he has to try his best not to reveal that little secret of who he is to other people. And that's always the hard thing. Is it right or wrong to let people know who you really are? Is it a lie to talk about who you really are? Or to not talk about who you really are? Or to talk about who you really are? Where's your integrity? Where's your character if you can't talk about it? Or is it better not to talk about it because you need to keep it a secret because you are a superhero, and sometimes great responsibility means great powers, and great powers means great responsibility. That's what the grandmother or the grandfather or the uncle or the aunt said to Spider-Man, Tony Parker, in the movies. That's what happened. Great power means great responsibility. Great responsibility means great power. It's not about the size of the dog in the fight, but the fight in the dog. That's what Michael Jordan always says. So what do you think? Is it right or wrong to lie about who you are for the greater good? I hope you say yes, it is. I think that's where I stand. I think sometimes you have to do things for the greater good, and sometimes that's better. And sometimes you have to maybe not save people for the greater good. That's kind of what happened with Superman. Superman always wanted to save the day when he was younger, but as he got older, he realized that the greater good is more important. But what is the greater good? Tell me in the comments below. Tell me in the comments below, and subscribe and like. What do you think? What is the greater good? What does it mean to do things for the greater good? What does it mean to be a Superman? Can you be a Superman without having superpower? Who is the greatest superhero of all time? Is it Superman or is it Batman? Who is better than who? You know what I'm saying? Do you like my beard? Do you want me to get rid of my beard? Would I be more of a superhero if I got rid of a beard? Can a superhero have a beard? Iron Man has a beard. Yeah, that guy, the character, when he's not in the mask and he takes off his mask, he has a beard, man. So maybe having a beard is fine. It's fine. Having a beard is fine because it makes you more of a man, because then you're like, man, I'm a real man. I can wear pink and I can have a beard. I can actually grow a beard and not just a goatee like an Amish person. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you would want that. Should you see Superman, the Man of Steel? Yes, you should. I give an awesome tacular. No, I stole that from Jeremy Jones. That's what he always says in his movie reviews. He mostly only does movie reviews, but he also does reviews on video games too, which I could do about Metal Gear, which I've been through it because of my friend played through the game for me. Does it look like I have some kind of disease if I start shaking like this? Like, what are you on? Are you on some kind of drugs? No, I'm just on some Superman juice. Okay? So the Man of Steel, I give an awesome tacular. Awesome tacular! Oh my goodness. I'm making fun of people, but I'm not really making fun of them. I'm making more fun of myself. Believe it or not. Ripley's Believe It or Not. I am. You know I am. If I wasn't, then why would I say I am? You know, if it wasn't, then it probably wouldn't work. That's what Johnny Depp always said. Jack Sparrow in the Pirates of the Caribbean films. Pirates of the Caribbean. That's what he said. If it wasn't, it probably wouldn't work. If it wasn't, it probably wouldn't work. One of my favorite quotes. I like pirates, but I like ninjas more. I like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles more than pirates. I think I like the Turtles more than I like Superman. And Full House. And the Dollhouse. That's right. I think so. I'm gonna cry. There's too many connections here. Why are you always talking about all of your previous videos and trying to connect them and trying to make them sound really cool? Because it sounds better that way. It sounds a lot better, and I need to play guitar more, try to get better and show you what it's all about. I think I need to go to a cafe right now and have some good old time. Spend more money, even though I don't have a lot of money because I'm not working as an English teacher in Vietnam for the moment in Saigon. But I'll get back to that. That'll be fine when I get back to that. When I stop making trouble in my neighborhood like Will Smith down in the hood. Yo, you know what it's like when everything is hard. But people don't know what it's like to be Superman. It's really hard to be, you know, a really strong superhero, and you have to hide your identity. Except when Lois Lane comes along, he kinda tells her who he is. Because, you know, you can't really keep that a secret. And she's a reporter, and she starts reporting about him, and early on, I mean not early on, but eventually, as Superman grows up in the Man of Steel film, he meets Lois Lane, and eventually he falls in love with her, and she's a reporter, and she eventually falls in love with Superman, and she's writing about him, and Zod wants to find Superman And so he says, hey, bring Superman to me. And then people look at Lois Lane because they know Lois Lane has talked to him. Lois Lane has talked to Superman, so they have to talk to her, and they talk to her. And they act like he's a criminal. And especially her boss. The boss goes to Lois Lane, is like, Lois Lane is a criminal. Lois Lane, you are a criminal. I mean, not really, not in those words, but they're upset because she is the key to unlocking the puzzle, to fix this, because otherwise the planet is gonna be like exploded. It's gonna blow up. It's gonna be ruined. It's gonna end, because that's what the big people in the sky said. They took over the media, all the cell phones and TVs and everywhere in the movie, and all you could see is Zod's face, the bad guy of the Man of Steel movie. Zod. He's on all the TV screens and laptop screens and cell phone screens and every single screen imaginable, and he's there talking and saying, I need Superman. I want Superman. Bring him, and no harm, no foul. Trust me. You can trust me. I'm Zod. And that's what happens, kinda. And Superman comes, and then they fight, and they lock Superman. No, they lock Zod up. They don't lock up Superman, because Superman's a good guy, and the good guy always wins at the end of the movie. At the end of the movie, the good guy always wins. You know that, and that's how you want it. Unless if it's Dexter. Spoiler alert, Dexter is a TV show about a criminal, a serial killer named Dexter, but he's also the protagonist. And some of the new movies and some of the new TV shows are kind of like that, where it's kind of half good and half bad, where the protagonist is also an antagonist. And what do you think about that? Are movies better when it's black and white, or are movies better when the criminal is also the protagonist, and the protagonist is also the antagonist? In other words, the good guy is also the bad guy, and the bad guy is also the good guy, and you don't know which one is which, and you're left clueless with all these mysteries. And should the new Star Wars films be like that? Should they have it like that? Should it be like that? Something like that, where you don't know what's going to go on, where you don't know what's going to happen? What do you think about that? What should the new Superman movies look like? Should Batman really be in the new Superman movie? Should they be sidekicks, or should they fight each other? If Superman fights Batman, how can that happen? Because Batman is not as strong as Superman. Unless if he's holding a bunch of kryptonite, that might make it difficult and might make it interesting. What do you think about that? Do you think I should redo this video and redo all my movie reviews and TV show reviews and other reviews on video games and other things, and should I redo my covers and karaoke videos and make better songs and sing them better? Should I make better videos? Should I just redo my videos? Should I not make any videos ever again? Let me know. Just comment below, or leave some video comments, or email me originaloatmeal at gmail.com. originaloatmeal at gmail.com. Email me or leave me a comment. Tell me to stop making videos, or tell me what kind of videos you want to see in the future, or tell me what kind of movie reviews and television reviews and music video reviews and video games reviews, and tell me what other videos you want me to do. Like, maybe I should just talk about things that are not really reviews and be a little different, a little better than that. What do you think? What do you say? Please tell me, or I'm gonna cry a river until you do, and you know that I can talk forever until you do, and I will make you talk. Unless if you're not watching this anymore, but that's a really hard thing to think about. Would you still be watching this after a half an hour? A whole entire half an hour of me just talking about a movie? and talking a little too much because I'm making too many references about other movies. Do you like that? Should I make less references to other movies, or is it better when I make references to other movies where I say, oh, Superman is kind of like Peter Pan, and Peter Pan is kind of like Michael Jackson, Michael Jackson is kind of like Justin Bieber, and Justin Bieber is kind of like Rihanna, and Rihanna is kind of like Usher, and Usher is like, you know, bring home the money, bring me the money, show me the money, Jerry Maguire, in a choir, Tom Cruise, a choir, Sister Act, Usher, again, first thing that comes to my head, I should just say it, right? Maybe, yes, no, whose line is it anyways? You know what I'm saying? I really like it. I really like Apples to Apples. Maybe I should review board games as well. What do you think about that? Should I? Let me know. You still have time to comment before the end of the video. But I'm about to end the video because movies have to end, shows have to end, Superman has to die, which is another really famous thing that happened. Superman was always around for a really long time. You see him in movies and TV shows and comics and books for years, for decades, but then like in the early 1990s or around that period, or at some point, Superman dies in the comics, and it makes a big splash all around because something new had to happen, and you know, cover after cover, story after story, comic after comic, movie after movie, same old story. Superman fights really tough bad guys and beats bad guys every time. Simple protagonist over antagonist kind of story until the bad guy wins and Superman dies in Doomsday. And then everything changes. So what do you think about that? Are stories better when they're not predictable like that? When Superman dies, is it better when Superman dies? Do you like it when Superman dies? Is it sad? Is it better? Or is it worse? What makes a good story and what makes a bad story? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you want me to do in the future. Maybe I should do Rap Battle of History, where Hitler battles Darth Vader, but they already did that. So me doing that would be like a ripoff. But then I don't really care about doing ripoffs. I think it's funny, just like when the Battletoads rip off the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Battletoads is a ripoff of the Turtles, but I don't care. We like parodies sometimes. Like the Spaceballs is a ripoff of Star Wars. And there probably are some ripoffs of the Superman story as well, but I can't think of it. Maybe just other superheroes in general. But do you like ripoffs? Do you like parodies? Do you like Weird Al? What do you think about that? Tell me what you think about that. Tell me in the comments below your favorite parodies and ripoffs and covers for music videos and movies like Scream and Scary Movie. Tell me about, what do you think about those movies? Do they work or do they not work? Maybe they don't work. Maybe they don't work at all. Maybe they can't work. How could they work? Why would you want them to work? Do you want them to work? Do I want them to work? Do you want your mother to work? No, I don't know. Stop talking about my mother like that. Go to a cafe. Stop making videos. It's getting too late, and then it's time to go. Look in the mirror there. Mirror on the mirror. Mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest of them all? Joey Arnold. Thank you. Joey Arnold oatmeal. Till next time, eat your spaghetti.